Wow, that was refreshing. Thank you, Will. And I do need a microphone, I would think. Um, Hello, everybody. Welcome. Thanks for coming. We've been at least a month, and I had to push the meeting back a week because have my routine vacation is just the same week every year, and that actually happened to fall in the coffee week. So we had to do a little scheduling transition. Glad to see the seats filled in here pretty quickly, which was nice. I was a little worried, but it's good to see you. So as you know, I got a laundry list of things. I mean, you wouldn't believe how many things I got to talk to you about today. But I wanted to introduce a couple folks. And today is actually, I'll talk about Spirit Week because today's actually Twin Day. So you'll probably notice some people dressed alike today. But if you three ladies might come up for just a second. And so all three of these ladies are recent JMU graduates. So congratulations to them, right? And they are from the Healthcare Administration program at JMU. And I've talked about this before, that we do so much collaboration with JMU with a whole variety of different programs. And the Healthcare Administration program is a key one. And it's just a passion of mine and Karen's to engage young professionals into what we do in senior living, because it's crucial to get our young folks engaged in this industry, because it's not altogether a well-known industry amongst the young folks. And so I went through the exact same program. And Sunnyside, was just a part of my life at that time, and it was at that, everybody has the epiphany of what do you want to do with the rest of your life, and I experienced that while I was in the program, that I want to do what I do. And so I think that hopefully through this experience, they've been with us now 8 weeks, right? And administrator in training sort of puts you in the role of, what does the administrator do? And I think some of the requirements of being a good administrator are, experiencing all the different departments, which you have done. Anybody want to comment on what departments you've worked in? Any special stories? Put you on the spot a little bit.
Okay, so we have been here 8 weeks, and we've worked in all different departments each week. Some of those departments were activities, which I think all of us really enjoyed, because we got to spend a lot of time with the residents and get to know them kind of one-on-one. We spent time with HR, dietary, environmental services, physical therapy, shipping and receiving. And all of it has just kind of taught us the different roles that are involved in long-term care, and how it takes everybody in a team to make all of the residents happy.
Go ahead and introduce yourself.
And I'm Sarah McAllister.
I'm Kayla Ellison. I'm Brooke Fulton.
So this is their last week, and part of being a good administrator too is getting put on the spot with stuff. So if you stick around long enough, you'll probably see some of that happen later. But anyways, this is their last week. Congratulations on completion, and we wish you well. And the circle of life, oftentimes we may see you down the road here at Sunnyside. So thank them for their dedication to Sunnyside. Thank you. Thank you. So it's been a fun experience with them, and it sort of gives Karen and I a refreshing viewpoint on encouraging these roles, because we need young people to get excited about being in administration of these type of organizations, because good people are hard to find, and so we're trying to do that. So I think we've had you three. We've had a couple internal. So Annie Schaefer, as you know, who's walking away blindly. She's like, I'm getting out of here. But she actually completed her administrative training and passed the exam, so she's now a licensed nursing home administrator. And Robin Galladay is in the program as well, and so we've had a couple internal. And then we also had some other folks that earlier in the year. So we've had about almost 10 people this year that we've gone through that kind of training. So, okay, well, on with the show. So that's hard to see, but it's Spirit Week at Sunnyside, right? And and we thank Pete Fundinger for really starting off Spirit Week with a nice, photoshopped version of myself as Superman, I guess. Where is Pete? Pete, where are you? Oh, there you are. Saw you with your cowboy hat. So good job. Good job. What I really worry about are other photoshopped pictures of myself. So let's hope for that this is the only one that has emerged. But Pete has kicked it off really well. So just a fun week for Sunnyside. Why do we do this? Spirit Week is just, kind of celebrating the spirit of Sunnyside, celebrating, the fun that we have here. And, why would we not have a week just dedicated to engaging each other and having fun with staff and residents, because the spirit of the campus is the most important thing, I think we have in our community, and that sort of sets the tone for the rest of the experience. So we've planned a lot of fun events. Yesterday we had some door decorating. Staff got into that very heavily with some creative door decorating and themes around superheroes for our campus, and I would say all those superheroes are our staff, our residents, our volunteers, families, community representatives that are engaged in helping the campus thrive in the way it does. Today is Twin Day, so see if you can guess who is everybody's twin. Who's my twin? Anybody notice who my twin is? So Julie's my twin today. So she said, well, what do you have to wear that I might have to wear? So I got a green shirt. You got one of those? So we have a talent show today at 2. Who's participating in the talent show that has a talent? Several residents are, probably some staff. So that was a fun event last year, and that might be, like Pete's theme, where we could, video or Photoshop some things from that could be incriminating down the road. But a lot of fun. We have a fun ice cream social and costume contest on Friday, and I think staff from the corporate office are here to dip ice cream like they did last year. So just having some fun together and enjoying the spirit of the campus. Couple business type of items that would maybe interest you. We have occupancy just hangs in there at that same old spot, 91%. That breaks down, as you can see, 88%, 97% for Island Center, and the healthcare center has really just stayed where it is, 96%. The independent living areas are seeing a high level of interest, which I'll discuss here with marketing. Through April, May, and June, just a lot of staycation activity, a lot of sales activity, which really came together we have over 14 people that are basically on a reservation now. Their units are being renovated and just getting ready to move to the campus in the next many months. So that independent living census is gonna shoot back up there, which is good for everybody. I think, for example, in the villas, last year this time we had about 7 or 8 villas that were open up on the Grattan Price villas, and now we only have 1. So that was a significant change over this year, which is wonderful for that area of the campus, to create, a new community in that area. So, as always, our residents continue to be our biggest fans. We thank you all for who have participated in all these staycations, and there's dinners that occur. There are tours of people's homes, and just happen about, how people made that transition, in the mental transition to be in a community like this. So thank you all, and I got to see the benefit of that. Oh, wait a minute, I'm going to go back. I got to see the benefit of that yesterday with our new resident wine and cheese social down at the pavilion, and we had about 30 people, new residents who moved in throughout the year last year that came together, and over and over again, I just heard from folks that say, we love it here. This was the best thing we have done. It was hard to do, but now that we're here and settled, we are so thankful and thankful for their neighbors. We have the Neighbors Program, which I think is very helpful in that transition. That is a resident-led and organized program. So, good things. Thank you all for your participation in that. You're making a huge difference in the lives of everybody that's choosing to move to Sunnyside. Okay, so I feel the need to just talk about bears because, you know, they want to be talked about. And so I say still here in question mark because that's the big question. Are they still here? Does anybody have anything to report on that? Because Kella tells me she has not had any reports since May 21st of bear activity, damage and things like that. Anybody have anything special? Tom?
Not about the bear, but it was about a week ago down near Frank Shakespeare's house. I was riding with my dog, driving down there, and a big gray fox was coming up the street. So we have gray foxes on campus.
Well, that's a red fox in Hickory Cove. Well, that's cool. Deer, okay. Groundhogs, skunks. We always have had those. So and we know that there are skunks. Is that what you? Ducks, geese, and all kinds of animals and wildlife. I mean, that is wonderful. We have a campus full of wildlife, and I love it. And to see gray foxes, which is in red foxes, something you don't see very often is actually. I would love to see a gray fox. I've never seen one. So, but bears, gosh. So no reports of bears or damage, and I think that's a wonderful thing. How do we draw a conclusion as to why we have not seen bears? I don't know. We have made some efforts to reduce some feeding and some significant amount of bird feed on the campus. And so I have talked to residents who are kind of out in the woods and things like that, and they say, well, the bears moved on, presumably, but they still call some of our local woods the home because they see signs of the bear in the woods, but they're not really on campus because there's not a lot of food out there. Now, I know people are still feeding birds. That's fine. I can live with that. But I think the thing is that we just to be mindful is that I have seen reports, and I'm sure many of you have seen some recent reports of black bear attacks, even in our local area. And now I see these things on Facebook sometimes, and it's like, I don't know the validity of them, but it's a real issue, and we just gotta continue to monitor it, and with some settling out of the dust a little bit, let's hope that we can get to some normalcy soon. And I would presume that once hibernation season begins, we'll be able to get back to some normal behavior as far as bird feeding and some things like that. So just being mindful of it, and but I think some of the things that we're working on is helping with that issue. Clinic changes, just keeping you abreast of what's going on here. I've talked about the Rockingham Family Physician announcement earlier this year, and I think they have probably shared with their patients those changes. And that transition fully goes into place in November, where they are only going to see patients, residents in their clinic, in their office. And as we've discussed, with healthcare, changes and things the way it is so hard for a physician practice to create efficiencies in their office and be able to see the 30-some people a day they need to see, and they just had to make a strategic decision that for them to be able to do those types of things and support that large of a practice, 7 or 8 physician practice, that they need to be able to do that in their office versus being kind of divided here and there. And I think that's fair enough. We're working on some due diligence with Valley Family Elder Care, and I feel we're far enough along that I can announce that Valley Family Elder Care, who is our medical director group for Panhandle Healthcare in our Island Center, they have interest in having a presence in the clinic, and so we're working on that relationship right now in how all the details of that shake out. So I'll have a memo come out about those details, and I think the initial step will be that they're looking to have a presence here one day a week, just like RFP does, it'll be another day of the week that, instead of the RFP day. And through that process, we will kind of determine, is there an interest level of residents that want to switch and just be seen here on the campus? Is there an interest level of residents who want to remain an RFP physician, RFP patient, but if there are emergency, have the Valley Family Elder Care as a backup where you can still be seen but still remain an RFP patient? There's, I think, a combination of ways we can help you, and then they will determine through that interest level if then they can be here, a couple days a week. I think their goal is really to be here almost every day of the week because they're already here every day of the week in our healthcare center. So we're working on that. It's going to take some time, but I think you'll see that ramp up between now and early fall, and that's just going to be a really good service coverage for the residents of the campus. And of course, as new residents move to the campus, especially folks from out of the area who are looking for a physician group, then that'll be an option here on campus, which is something that we've always wanted to promote for folks looking for primary care from off-site. Lakeview Land, we're just, mowing over there. We have a contractor that is kind of going to town, and he's already been through kind of a one pass, and he's got to do a couple more to really get it under control, as he would call it. And then we're doing cleanup, and we're filling in large holes over there from where the golf course pulled out some of their electronic equipment that runs their sprinkler system. So that process continues to go. We haven't, roped off the property and said no entry and all that. I think there's been, I know that some folks that have golf carts, it's a nice connection for them, so we didn't want to restrict that for anybody. Just stay on the cart path if you venture over there, because, there is, the grass being high and whatnot. We don't want anybody to get injured. But if you stay on the cart path, you'll be fine. So that's going to continue to go. Whoop. Testing. Still there? Hello? Maybe it's me. Testing.
You want to just turn it off?
Yeah, it's true. Testing. Okay. There we go. So that'll go on throughout the summer, and we're continuing to explore where we could put benches and get that place to be a real park experience. And as I meet every month, I don't know how much of that you want me to report on, but I think different people come to the meetings, and some people are watching from home, and so I think being consistent and try to report on it will keep you up to date as to when we'll have benches, when we'll have maps of the property and whatnot. So that's that. All right, Panhandle Healthcare. I like to report on this and some updates with Panhandle Healthcare, just because I think they're doing some great things over there. The project's complete. Parts of the building has now been occupied or finished construction for over a year now, if you can believe that, year and a half really. So, it's sort of like an ongoing renovation thing where that part's already been under occupation for a year, and we're back to painting and probably changing out some carpet in some respects and trying to keep it fresh and updated. So we continue to maintain a 5-star rating from the Centers for Medicare Services, which is an important rating to have. We had a good healthcare inspection this year, which is always exciting. I think we highlighted that assisted living had a 0 deficiency inspection. I believe I shared that, which is outstanding. That's never happened here that I'm aware of. Social services is actually a harder inspection to get that 0 deficiency from, because they just never give those out. So that speaks to the quality and the attention to detail that the staff are applying to the care here, and we're very thankful for that. There are some new regulations that have come forth from CMS and the state of Virginia with regards to just a variety of things. One of the most notable ones is how we handle disaster planning in the nursing center. And what's different or unique about a retirement community is that we have a nursing center. You know, of course, we have an assisted living on site, and then we have a vast campus full of. And you know, while there are some nursing homes that are just the nursing home, we have responsibility for a lot of residents beyond the nursing home. So the regulations are specifically for Panhandle Healthcare Center, and we could somewhat take the approach of being incremental and just take care of disaster planning for the healthcare center. But I've been a part of a few disasters, hurricane and derecho. Whoever heard of a derecho before that thing happened? Charlie heard of it maybe, but that was bad. So I think that our viewpoint on disasters, of course, is that it's campus wide, and one of the requirements is going to be that we have a real drill for disaster planning. So the staff have taken on an approach that we want to plan for a campus-wide disaster day, or maybe a half a day, where we're going to outline a scenario for the campus. You know, something happened. We could, you know, go to what's the alien movie that where they came down. We could have an alien attack, or we could do something simpler like a power outage. But anyways, we're going to outline a scenario and make that a really important day. And resident participation will be key, and we'll be kind of going through a list of things of crucial elements on the campus for that. Okay, power is out, and it's going to be out for 3 days, and what do we need to do to stockpile some resources and get everybody engaged in that process. And we'll outline the time frame of when the disaster begins, when it ends, maybe some scenarios. The disasters that I've been a part of, it's not the actual disaster that is necessarily the challenge. A hurricane is a challenge, of course, and it knocks out power, and you've got some damage and all that. But if you hunker down, you can get through the hurricane. The issue is there are all these auxiliary issues that occur. Okay, you can't get gas. Where do you get ice? Do you have heat and cool? Can you heat and cool an area? And then something else happens where somebody gets hurt, or things. So we're probably going to have a disaster within the disaster, so that just to prepare you, and we'll tell you or give you an idea of what that might be too. So it could be a really fun day, but we'll ask residents that are a part of it to be patient as well, because it'll just be a day that nothing else gets done. So just so you're aware. So that's going to be more in the September range as a goal we have to pull that off, but I think it's an exciting thing. Another interesting thing that Panhandle Healthcare has done, the first 6 months of the year, they have like a stat for you. There have been 170 admissions to the healthcare center in that 6-month period, which is a lot. There's a lot of people coming in and going in the healthcare center because we're admitting folks from the hospital that are here for a short-term stay, as well as folks that are moving in, maybe for a long-term care stay. So there's a lot of activity, and I think that's, an impressive point for the healthcare center, is that it's a living, breathing, high intensity care system for you. So they're interesting statistic they shared with me today. We are installing a new swimming pool on campus. Yeah. We're going to put a high dive in for you. So the work has begun for the Bistro project. And, you can tell that there's a lot of disruption out there. The back entrance and underneath the building, as I had shared, there will be some disruption. There are early estimates right now that we could be finished February 15th. Now, I don't expect that that's going to happen that way, but that's what they say. Those guys, they try to impress you with a number there. And so it'll probably be around that time, and we'll just keep that date out in front of you of when and what. The next couple weeks, probably next week, there's going to be some traffic disruption because we have concrete trucks coming in, and there'll be a day or two where you're just not going to be able to go through there. So Vista Villa residents are going to have to go around, and then residents in the Glen are going to see some more traffic there. So it's just going to be a day here and there that happens, and I'm going to try to tell you the dates, and Robin will get dates out on the touchtown and all the alert areas that we can. But if you see something disruptive, please be patient. It's a living, breathing thing, and we'll try to keep it out in front of you. But sometimes Murphy's Law comes into play there too. We have Highlands work being done. We had 3 design firms kind of going through. We have settled on a design firm now that is going to work on this project for us and help to transform the Highlands. Transformation, I think, is an important word for that because the Highlands has really been in need of that vibrant, refreshing look to it. And so with that, we're going to need some help. We need focus groups involved, and we want to get those kicked off in July to start the feedback process on what are residents looking for, what things and amenities are needed. So ideas, input, and that's going to be, as we've handled the dining focus groups, sort of a cross-section of residents. We have 100 residents that call the Highlands their home. So that's a crucial factor in those decisions, and certainly is going to be the priority of the discussion. But recognize that the Highlands is a vital hub for the greater community. So it's that, these focus groups and this whole discussion is going to be this healthy balance that we've got to create through this process, and there's going to be a lot of talk and discussion about it. So, it's going to begin soon, and I just want to preface that this whole process with that the Highlands is an important building on campus, and the most majestic one from when you come in, you see it up there on top of the hill. So it's something we want to put a special attention to for everybody on campus and let everybody enjoy the benefits of what we can do with that space. And that leads us to some other things that are getting ready to occur. So the Wellness Hallway is going to get a nice new refreshing look as well, and that begins on July 9th. There's going to be some disruption with walking through that hallway area, especially near Sunny Treasures and the beauty shops, because what has to happen is some asbestos abatement in that area has to occur at that lower end of the hallway, and then we're just going to start sliding on up the hallway. And Robert tells me that all that's going to be done at night, but it's going to be sort of close it down during the day so they can get ready to take the stuff out, and then they'll do it at night. Then it'll be open, and there'll be a couple days where there'll just be concrete on the floor, and then there'll be guys putting flooring down. So that'll be a disruption. So it's going to be this herky-jerky thing for a little bit, but we can get through it, and there's different ways to get in the building and get to the areas you need to. And then as we get to areas that are going to affect, like the beauty shop, okay, the beauty shop might be shut down for a couple days, so appointments can be scheduled at the Highlands, and we'll try to go through, smaller beauty shop, but we can work through that. Wellness, same way. They have some, now the pool's not as easy unless we go in through the outside there, but there might be some ways to do that. But classes could be held, in different places, and there's going to be some, where's Waldo? Where do I go today for the pool, or where do I go, or for working out, or where do I go for this? But this whole process for the hallway is going to, won't take but a couple months. So through the end of the summer, we'll start to see some real transformation for that hallway. And then a lot of behind-the-scenes work begins. So then you get into the clinic and into the wellness center, down the administration hallway with some of those office areas and things. I think I have noted in a previous discussion that we have an old radiator type of heating and ventilation system on that first floor now. We also had it on second and third floor of healthcare. It was the same system. So we've taken that out when we did the renovations of second and third, and now that system remains on first. So that thing is from 1975, and it is full of what is called glycol, which everybody's probably familiar with glycol. It's a heating and air, it's for heat and air exchange, and someday, if we don't change that thing out, we're going to come in and the whole first floor will be full of orange glycol because the piping and it's just such an old system that piping, any day, those things can spring a leak and out that stuff comes. So we've got to take efforts behind the scenes, like Annie's office and the clinic and down our way, to get that system out. We put the ceiling mount HVAC systems in, and so that's going to be an ongoing process. So the phase one is working down the hallway, and then phase two is starting behind the scenes in the various offices where they kind of cut, they go in an office, they cut those units off, install, and then they go to the next office. And there's painting and carpet and some things that are going to need to occur there too. So I share that with you. Another Sunny Treasure. So I think that announcement's going to be at the end, but I've heard that there's a fire sale has occurred. Is that what it is? Have you called it that? 50% off. So I would call that fire sale. Yeah. Yeah, Sunny Treasure is going to be closed a little bit. So those. Yes. Yeah. So they're going to share that at the end, but a lot of areas down there are affected, and we're just going to have to coordinate and get through it, do the best we can. So along those lines, wellness, just to give you a little history or information about what wellness has been working on, Annie and her team, they're working on some campus survey information, which we're going to get out, and that's going to have a series of questions about wellness and the things you're looking for and all the nuts and bolts of it. Some residents have been involved in helping to craft that survey, which I think has been helpful for staff. And so this information that we receive from the survey will also lead to then more focus groups. That's kind of the theme. We actually want to take some survey information, but then also engage that information with discussion. And the goal of that is to learn how we can really work to transform the wellness experience on campus and how that will impact your lifestyle on campus. And I am extremely impressed with our wellness program as it is. There's a lot of opportunities for resident engagement, a lot of exercise and total body holistic wellness. There's so many good things that we can do. And we're sort of now in that, that has occurred basically since 1996, 8, somewhere in there. Annie, kind of give me the roundabout number, but for a long time, the Sunnyside Wellness Program has been it is a very innovative and award-winning type of experience. But if we don't get the feedback and we don't work on new initiatives and things, those things can change. So we want to hear from residents, existing and prospective, and staff as well as part of that experience. So it's all going to come together for information for how do we move into the future with our wellness campus, and we'll see what information that leads to. So I'm excited about that project as well. So be on the lookout for some information on that. And I think all these things that I'm discussing, which sound, kind of like a lot. There's a lot going on, a lot of information, but it really is leading to, I think, more opportunities for resident and staff collaboration. And how can we pull together, to work on these larger initiatives together and hear what the residents are looking for, but also get residents to help with some of these things. So, just a simple example. Green Committee, which myself I've been a part of that. Robin Galladay has been a part of that on occasion, and we're trying to get. We have significant resident involvement on that. Is a concept for Campus Arboretum, and just how can we leverage the beauty that we have on the campus with the trees and the plants and things, and maybe create somewhat of a educational experience. So they're working on, you've seen the new tree signage, which Sunnyside has had for years, but they were kind of getting old and falling off the trees and things. So we're revitalizing that, and I think through that process we'll discover maybe new ways that we can have maybe plant signage and things for highlighting the beauty of the campus and turning the campus into sort of a wellness arboretum type of experience where residents and their families and children and anybody could come to the campus and kind of go on a tour of the campus and find some unique things and some specimen trees. And so long goal, but it's going to take residents and staff to do that. And we can do that on a lot of different initiatives. So I think, as I say here, this type of interaction is just going to become instrumental for the design and planning for campus strategic initiatives. And, it'd be very easy to just come up with a strategic plan and say, here it is, and, that's what we're going to do. But strategic plans have sort of evolved over the years, or the planning process has moved more away from the traditional, we do a strategic plan, here it is, it's every 3 years, and this is what it's going to be, to this type of experience where it has a living, breathing aspect to it. So it's going to be crucial that if there are residents interested in certain initiatives, it could be technology, which we already have a wonderful technology committee. It could be like we have the Green Initiative or gardening committees interested in food to table type of experience. There could be a community garden here. So wellness, there's going to be a lot of ideas for that. So that's the type of interaction and experience we're looking for and trying to develop. And those that are interested, we look forward to your help. And I think that's about all I have for overall discussion. Greenhouse, I was told that there are plants in the greenhouse, and if you have plants in the greenhouse, probably time to get them in the ground. So there you go for that. But thank you for that plug. We're going to go into some questions, and then there are some announcements from various groups after the questions. And there's Bob.
One time in connection with the bistro activity that you were looking for a restaurateur. Is that still on the table?
Looking for a restaurant tour of the town? I'm sorry?
No, for our dining facilities.
Repeat that again. I didn't hear.
At one time you said you were searching for a restaurateur, somebody to run the restaurant.
Oh.
Is that still on the table?
I don't think I'm not. Did I say that? I don't remember saying that.
Yes, you did.
Well, I think what I was sharing with that is that we've got this new venue coming on board, and with that, there is going to need to be parts of the other venues with the Tartan Grill and the Marketplace to evolve as well. And through that process, that their staff that work there currently, and what staff member works in the bistro versus what staff members work in the Marketplace. There's got to be a sort of an operational assessment of that, which really has begun with when Shelley Holiday was here at the beginning of the year or end of last year, and that process continues to go where she'll be back here soon to help with sort of this next phase. So the answer to your question is that yes, we are still working on that. We don't have we haven't put any ad out for a specific person or anything like that at this point. So it's evolving, and it's an operational / design marriage that is taking place. And I hope that they don't get divorced. We got to keep the marriage together there. But but it is coming together nicely.
I'm John Watkins. I wanted to bring up a question that I don't think we need to deal with at this moment, but I think should be dealt with in the future. Um, I'm concerned about escorts and transportation, and I think the way the system is working now is detrimental to the residents. And I think that should be seriously discussed. And being a Presbyterian would do things decently in order. I recommend a committee be established to just work that out where I feel it's, I say, not working well for the residents.
Okay. Well, if there are specific concerns about transports, I have heard of some things about some transports on the weekends, but I am not hearing things about current transportation concerns. We have 4 staff members that work in transportation, and they're here every day transporting people to doctor's appointments and anywhere and everywhere. So we will certainly explore and take the opportunity to learn more about what could we do to improve that. But they do a heck of a job as I am observing it, maybe disconnected somewhat. So if there are I'm sorry?
It's concern about the cost of having escorts when you go.
The cost of somebody to go with you for transportation?
You have to have someone go with you.
I tell you, why don't we take this conversation offline and you and I can learn more about that? I think it would be good to start there, and then we can get into whether we need a committee for that type of problem. So I'll seek you out, John, after the meeting for a time. And Sue?
I have several residents at the Highlands that are concerned about the movement of foot care taken away from the Highlands. They're non-diabetic, and they really feel it's a difficult thing to get over to schedule, a very heavy schedule that they have here for foot care. So they would love to see it come back. And second thing is one of the residents of the Highlands said, it would have been nice because nobody kind of understands what's going on with the bistro, trying to watch the construction. And it would have been nice, along with the plans, to have had a model. Is it too late to have a model that people can look at what the finished product will look like?
You mean like a 3-dimensional model?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're beyond
Okay.
that point for that.
Yeah.
But I think that type of thing is just, we probably could get a model, as part of the plan package and pay for
Sure.
that. But it's, is that something that we want to invest in several $1,000s for a model?
Okay.
I mean, it's a good idea, but it's a cost to those types of
Okay,
things
I
for
see.
for an architect. And I think depending on the size of the project, if it was something totally new beyond, if it was a $10 million project that was a new housing development or something, maybe that would be more applicable to something.
Gotcha.
I mean, I hear what you're saying, but I think it's the size of this didn't really warrant that
Okay.
type of design. Let me speak to foot care briefly. Sometimes we have to assess, the operational abilities and of those types of services, and where and how we can create the best efficiency for residents and staff and whatnot. And a couple of I've heard these direct comments with regards to foot care, and I recognize that is impactful for anybody that was, used to coming, they just go right down there to have foot care. Now, normally what's happened there is that folks are doing that in the evening when we have, a staff member working in the evening, and that has, been a nice personal experience, and I appreciate that. But it was a fairly limited number of folks that were used to that as well. All the while that we have a whole foot care operation and dedicated staff down in this building for that. And so there were a couple issues there that kept arising from staff. So this is not just something I dreamed up and thought it was a good idea. I think that when I'm approached by staff that are concerned about safety concerns with regards to that they're providing a service to a resident, and all of a sudden they get a call on the campus, then they have to jostle and juggle as to whether or not to leave that resident in the foot care bath and go out and solve that emergency and then come back. So, when I'm approached about safety concerns, and then we get into, we're duplicating services, and we balance the fact that we have good transportation service, shuttle on the hour that can bring folks down, and I believe we've now added a day of a staff member to do foot care. I think that those are just operational things that we weigh out, and we try to be considerate of everybody's concerns in that. But ultimately, we got to get to something that makes the best sense for how those services are delivered. And so I think that what I've asked folks, as I've talked to folks, is to just try it and, get some feedback to Kathy and myself as to how to go. I mean, Debbie and Judy Lamb are great people, and I think they'll find that they'll have a great experience at the foot care spa, just as they would with Donna and anybody that are delivering it. So that's how we got from there to there. It wasn't a rogue thing that I just dreamed up, but we'll continue to monitor it. If it creates some angst ongoing, we can discuss how can we readdress that. So is that fairly answer?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Thoughts, questions? You only get me once a month, unless you get me, in the hallway or something. There comes Tom. Okay.
A number of months ago, marketing led the effort to renovate the common areas in the 6 Grattan Price villas, some of which have been completed, some of which are in the middle of being completed, and some of which I don't think have even started. But there hadn't been much activity in the past month. So can you kind of give us an idea of where we are with that?
Absolutely. So we got a lot accomplished in a short amount of time, and then it just stopped. And the reason it stopped was there was material that our designer had spec'd that we could not get ordered from that particular vendor. And I will have to admit there that I think there was a lot of communication issues between our staff and the vendors that went on for a while, and no one really knew that was occurring until they shared that, well, we can't order this. So there were several weeks of just trying to order the stuff, and it never was able to be ordered. So that's why when the flooring wasn't able to be ordered, they decided, well, let's not do the walls or any of those things until we know when all this types of stuff is going to come together. So we ultimately were able to get our designer and staff together to say, well, this isn't working. We need to pick another product. We need to pick another carpet, for example, or flooring, for example, that we can get. We know we can order it, and that has been ordered and should be here any day. And if we, what I can do is have staff reach out as to some start dates on or finish dates for those particular areas, and we apologize for that inconvenience. I do think some of those, I think that the buildings that I have seen have been really transformational, and it's been a nice renovation for those areas, and they help with overall presentation for the buildings. Now, I will say then, sometimes when something's happening on another part of the campus, but it's not happening on another part of the campus, it makes people say, well, why are they getting this and we're not getting that? And I will share that it's the scope of the project that sometimes drives that. The villa lobby renovations, those lobbies aren't more than 500 square feet, and they're very small, and it was a very quick and easy type of process to, update and, change from wallpaper to, paint and things like that. Something like the Highlands and, buildings like this, these are major disruption and major projects that take time to pull together. So, Tom, does that fairly answer your question? More information to come, and we apologize for the delay on that. Other thoughts, questions? We have some new residents here. Did this meeting meet and exceed your expectations for some transparency, communication, my ability to tap dance a little bit? Okay. We do have some resident announcements, so Linda and anybody that wanted to say something.
Hello, everybody. Pat Oxley couldn't be here today, so she wanted me to fill you in and on the gift shop and what's happening down there. First of all, please remember that's at 50% off sale. It will run for the rest of this week. Books, I understand that books on the table down there will be half price as well. But there are a lot of other books. Summer's here. Get your books to read for the summer, because July the 1st, the gift shop will close, and we do not know how long it will be closed. The week prior to the renovation starting, everything will be packed up, and it will be stored somewhere. So we'd really like to limit the inventory that's in the store right now. So come on down. Good prices on everything down there. So, we'll let you know as soon as the gift shop can reopen, but it's going to take a while. So, sorry about that. Thanks.
But as they say, there's something for everybody in Sunny Treasures. So, a couple upcoming events, and I don't know, I could turn it over to Lena unless she wants to just go off of what I wrote. But there's some fun events there. Ice Cream Social, July 5th, Patriotic Ice Cream Social. We have some military care package assembly on July 11th, which I think is outstanding. And anybody that has time to help with that would be a fun participation type of event. Harrisonburg Harmonizers concert coming up, and interestingly enough, we have Summit Square Tour, which is your sister facility in Waynesboro, Virginia, and they have recently gone through several years of some renovations there, and I think if you are able to make it, you could have a tour and lunch there on July 26th. So, well, thank you all for coming, and we'll enjoy some coffee together and some fellowship, and we'll see you soon.